welcome back to At Home with Chic and Grace. I'm Kimberly. I have a fun little tutorial today on how to recreate the look that I did on this little urn. So if you've seen my last video on how to make the pumpkin topiaries, then you'll know that I didn't do the finish on this little urn, and I finally decided what I wanted to do, so I thought I would make another tutorial for you and show you a couple different ideas. So I thrifted both of these urns, and this one actually I think it's made out of some kind of styrofoam, but I love the way the finish came out. And I did a couple other ideas on some candlesticks. These are just rounds that were left over from pieces I cut out on my laser, and this was a candlestick, and I've had these candlesticks for years and years and years. And then this little base I actually came in a wood pack that I bought at a garage sale. So I did some fun distressed looks on them. I thought that they would be interesting, like to give a little bit of height in your displays. So many ways. I mean, you could just put your pumpkin on it plain, like so. You can put a little greenery around it. This might be a little bit too much, but actually I kind of like it. And then, but I started playing with this one here, and I got a little excited, so I thought I should show you some different ideas that you can do to decorate this urn up. So my big urns on my front step, I have like a white grapevine wreath that I put on before I put my pumpkins in, and then I just put a few leaves here or there, and you can see all of that in the last video when I made the pumpkins. So if you had small grapevine wreaths, that would look really cute here. So that got me thinking about just adding some greenery. So I've cut apart a vine that I use in my fall decor, and you could lay it on there. You'd have to like glue this in, or there's still styrofoam left in here, so I can pop some of it in. Okay, I want it to kind of spill over the edges, so I thought see here. Just trying to wind it into each other, and it ends up being the same greenery that I had put on the top too, so I thought that would be super cute. And then yeah, like look how cute this is, and so many things that you could decorate with this. And if you wanted to add a little bit more interest, you could throw some leaves in there. I have this greenery too that has the same coloring, just a different shaped leaf. You could put a few sprigs of that in and just kind of have it pop out. Can't really see very well like this, so hopefully that's looking all right. But anyhow, I would play with it a little bit more, and then you could go ahead and like add a little tag if you want. Oh, I don't know if I can fit, but I didn't leave my jute opening very big. Oh no, it works. So anyhow, maybe a smaller tag or a longer piece of jute so it hangs down a little bit more, even though there's really nothing wrong with that. But or if you wanted a smaller tag, just to add a little interest, right? Like look how cute that is. Anyhow, it would just take a little bit of finessing to get it exactly where you want it. So anyhow, we're going to move this stuff to the side, and I am going to get to showing you the steps to recreating this finish. Okay, so, my goodness, I got stuff everywhere. Let me get rid of this guy. And we'll put his tag back on him. Okay, loving that, loving that, loving that. Okay, let's get this guy off of here. So this is actually a fairly simple process. It just is time consuming because you've got to allow for so much dry time. But okay, I used Fusion mineral paint and some Fusion waxes, and I actually used the Dixie Belle Crackle. Okay, so I'll let this dry, and I'll make a decision on whether I am going to just leave it with one coat or if I'm going to put 2 coats on. Okay guys, I'm back, and I've got 2 coats on this urn. I wasn't worried about full coverage. It should have covered in 2 coats if I maybe would have paid more attention, but maybe 2 coats and some touch-ups. But anyhow, nonetheless, I'm not concerned about that. So, Dixie Belle Crackle is what we are going to use next. You want a dry brush. You could use any one-step crackle with this. Alright, so you're just going to get it on here. I'm not that concerned about what direction my brush strokes are going either. And if I miss the odd spot, I'm okay with that too. So let's just get this all over, and just the thicker you put it on, the longer it's going to take to dry. So just keep that in mind. I have not used this crackle enough to say whether the thicker you put it on, the better the cracks. I don't know that. I do know that once we put the paint on, that is going to determine our cracks for sure. So I just put a good amount on. I think when I might have put it on a little thick on the last guy, and then it dripped a little bit. Whoops, there's something in my paintbrush here. It dripped, and that was okay to me. Oh yeah, my brush handle is chipping off. I let this guy maybe soak in the water a little bit too much. That's what's going on here. So, what is that? Oh, well, doesn't matter. It'll cover. Okay, so I will get this all covered in the Crackle. And then we'll be back. This is going to take a little while to dry. And like, because this was a non-porous surface, it did take quite some time for my Fusion Mineral paint to dry. So just make sure that you're not in a hurry, or apply a hairdryer to it. But I am definitely walking away and doing other projects in between because it is taking a while. And this will take some time too. This will take probably a good hour to dry. So, and then again, it's going to depend on your humidity and, you know, temperature, all that fun stuff. I keep getting pieces of the handle in here. I'm really not that concerned about it, but because it's going to get covered up. And it'll just add to the aged effect that I'm going for. So, in my other one, I had little bits of moss stuck in the paint too because the stuff is in there so good. I wasn't going to fight with it anymore to try to get it out. And besides that, it's nice to have it in there to, you know, stuff things in. I want to be able to take it out, like the pumpkin topiary out, and then I'll use this at Christmas time and put like a Christmas tree in it. You could use it throughout the rest of the year and put a flower arrangement in it, or, you know, whatever you like. I'll come up with lots of ideas for us to use it. So, and I love these urns. Like I have big ones. I'm starting to get a nice collection of small ones so that I can make different colors, and I'll show you lots of ideas how to use them and different ways to paint them too. I've got a lot of different techniques that I'd like to use. So, okay, it's on. We're gonna let this dry, and I will see you in a bit when this is all done. Okay. Bye. Alright guys, I'm back. This took a long time to dry. So now that it is dry, the next step is to put our next layer on. Now, as I was sitting here, well, thinking about it while it was drying, I thought, you know, I think that given that all of our pumpkins have this really warm color to them, like this, because they're the drop cloth, that maybe I shouldn't put the gray under this one. So that is Hazelwood. Now, I still like this, but I think I'm going to change it up. And I'm going to do some Algonquin and maybe some Hazelwood. I'll grab into both of them. I want to show you. So I did these corbels, and they have Algonquin underneath. So it really gave it a nice warm tone to it. I think I'm just going to try this. Well, I might put a little bit of Hazelwood, but I think that I am going to just do the Algonquin. So, if you're thinking that you like those corbels, they are going to come in a tutorial soon. I'm just waiting for more milk paint to arrive so that I gotta put my apron on. More milk paint to arrive. Those ones I made were my first set, and I'm just going to use them as bookends, but I'm actually making more that are going to be for shelves. So I want to be able to share that process with you. And then I will have kits for sale for them as well. All right, so I don't need to really stir these because I've been using them a lot the last couple days. If you're wondering why I have saran wrap on my paint, it's because these lids, when they dry, if they are not perfectly clean, you can't get them off. By putting saran wrap on there, I can actually get the lids off. So, all right, let's grab a paintbrush here. And again, I'm just blotting out my water out of my brush just because I have my paintbrushes sitting over here in my basin. Okay, with this Crackle, if you stroke all of your paint in the same direction, you are going to get your Crackle all going in the same direction, like alligator crackle, like that's what they call it, right? Like you might not be able to see this very well, but I just slapped it on there so that I have Crackle going every which way. And then on the base here, I went every which way, plus I kind of stippled it in, and I really like this stippled effect. So I'm going to show you that, plus just got to grab not one that has blue on it. Need a clean glove. This one will work because you don't have to have a glove. You could just use your hand, but it's going to get all over your hands. So I'll explain in a second. Okay, so the thicker you put it on, the deeper, bigger the cracks. The thinner you put it on, the thinner the cracks. So I like a mixture. And like I said, you can stipple it in, and it almost starts cracking like within seconds of you putting it on. So you really don't want to work over your piece very much. So I am going to just grab little bits of gray here and there and stipple it in. But you got to work fast, really fast, because you can see it's already starting to crackle in here. Not sure if you can see that. And I hope it's still in focus so you can see that. Still learning this new camera, this video setup. Okay, so we're going to get this base done here like really quick. Because I want to show you the next step. Basically, if you keep going over your paint, you will take it off, which is where the next step I'm going to show you is going to come into play. Really cool. So, okay, let's just do part of that, and then go back over where you started and just press your fingers in and lift some of that paint, because that's what's going to give it this old world chippy paint look. So you don't want to leave fingerprints, so you kind of got to hit it with the side or your palm. You could even go in with a stipple brush and do this, but you have to do it when it's wet. See how that's looking? It's so cool. Okay, it's a little messy, so just gotta grab a paper towel, wipe my hand off, and let's get some more going here. Okay. I'll just pick up a little bit of gray. I should have put the gray in its own dish, but anyhow, I didn't, so I'm just being careful. I'll probably just change that saran wrap so I don't get Algonquin in my Hazelwood. Okay, so just get some of this off. Take as much off as you like. We are going to let this dry. Got it really thick in there. We're going to let this dry, and then we are going to go in with another coat of Crackle. Ooh, I'm loving this. Loving this, loving this. It is looking so good. And I don't mind. I took quite a bit off there, but I don't mind. Like, that looks to me so good. It looks really old and worn, and I like that. And sometimes when you go in and you lift it off and you put your hand back down another place, it actually deposits the paint from your glove back on there, and I like that too because it just adds texture. So we are going to continue. This is best to work in sections, and around these leaves you're going to do a lot of stippling. And these leaves, oh, they're going to look so good when we start to put the antiquing wax on. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, I'm glad that I decided to put this Algonquin in here and just warm this up a bit. And it's going to look so good like this. Okay. And if I don't get all the way down into these grooves of the leaves, I think I'm going to be okay with that. Okay, let's just go in here, dab it off with my hand. And even though we're putting another layer on top, you're still going to see where we remove this, and you're going to see the color underneath in spots. It's all about layering when you're trying to get these old chippy looks. Okay, like I just imagine this pot sitting outside for years, getting all worn, and yeah, anyhow, I just really like that. I've made my urns that are very similar in shape that my pumpkins are in on the front step. I have made them look nice and old and worn too. Like, I like it when my cast iron ones get rusty and crusty. Okay, I shouldn't be going back over here where I put that, like I put Algonquin on and then I kept moving around. I should have right away picked my Hazelwood up and blended it in because it started to crackle and I just went over it and took away my crackles. So, but that's okay. That is okay. Okay, so you can see, like you can see where it is crackling. I hope you can see that anyhow. Let's just get in here, pull some of this away. If your hand gets too wet with paint, just wipe it off, and this is going to take it off more on the ridges than anything. Hope you guys can see what I'm doing all right. I'm trying not to lay it down on the table, but I'm also trying to keep it sideways so you can see it. Okay, so this is what we're looking like so far. It's looking gorgeous. Okay, so we just have the rim to do. are just about done here. Well, done this step anyhow. It's a long process, but oh, it's worth it. Okay, let's go back around here where we started putting it on, and we'll start lifting. Oops, I really took a good amount off there. We'll just cover that up. My finger slipped. Okay. I'm just gonna throw this glove in the garbage. All right, so there we have it. This is our next step. I am going to wait for this to dry. This won't take very long to dry at all. Minutes, really. Not as long as our last two steps. So I'm going to wait for it to dry. I am then going to put another coat of Crackle on. When my, whoops, when my Crackle is dry, I will come back and show you the next step. Okay guys, I'm back. This is all nice and dry. You can get a nice good look at all the crackling and chippiness that we have going on there right now. I hope you can see that. So is there a wet spot? I don't know. Anyhow, so now I am using casement, and it's quite a lovely white. I'm going to put another glove on because we're going to be doing the same technique. Now, you're going to have to put it on fairly thick in order to have good coverage. If you're not worried about good coverage, then you can, then you don't have to put it on so thick. Not that worried about it, just because we're going to do some waxing on top, and so I'm not that worried about full coverage, but I do want it to look white, if you know what I mean. Like, I don't want it to be transparent. So you can see it's starting to crackle in there already, and I'm happy with that coverage. So now I'm going to go in, we're going to just lift the paint every now and then. I don't have myself a very well accessible paper towel here. Okay, so you can do this as little or as much as you want. Like, I really am liking all that crackle in there. So I think, like, just it's crackling beautifully here. I can't wait to show you guys up close photos of this. Whoops, sorry. Just pay attention to how I'm holding it. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to move on to my next section. And just remember not to, like, be overworking your paint. Basically try to put it on and leave it. And change directions so you don't get those alligator or crocodile stripe crackles. I think those have a place, but I don't like them all the time. I just don't think it looks natural. What I love about the colors that we put underneath this is going to look like it's a cement pot. Okay. All right. Let's get some put on here. Just get it stippled in there. The thicker you put the paint on, the longer you have to go back and to dab it off with your fingers. So that's why I kind of went all the way around, so that now, because if it's too wet, it doesn't come off that nicely, but if it's too dry, you're not getting it off either. So you'll get a feel for it as you do it. Like down here is pretty dry. I really have to hit it. I almost have to rub it off. Whereas here, when it's too wet, it's just kind of smudging around. So, because my paint is a lot thicker right there. So just let it dry, I'll come back. We're getting some beautiful crackles. And every now and then, I just kind of drag my fingers, and it just gives it another distressed look too. Just want to be careful. Like I say, you're going to get a feel for it, and especially get a feel for it on your first coat. Your first coat that you're going to do this is nice and forgiving because you're covering a lot of it up, but you're also going to start to see, like, you probably can't see this, but in here you can see our base coat, you can see our second coat that we put on underneath, over top the other crackle. And if you really start to like pull some of this off, you'll see some of that crackle showing through in those colors as well. So, I mean, you could choose to skip that first crackle step, but then you're not really going to get that nice chippy, worn look. You can get it a different way, but this is just the way that I've chosen to do it. And your second coat of crackle doesn't take as long to dry as your first one. I mean, that is all dependent on how thick you put it on. So, okay, let's get some more of this pot finished. So, I hope I'm doing this so you guys can see. I know I keep saying that. I'm just so not used to this camera setup yet. And then I'm also trying to not lay this completely down because we'll just wipe all of our paint off. Okay, just dab a little bit more off. I'm loving the way this is looking. Oh, I love it, I love it. Okay. So once this is done, we have to let it dry. And then we're going to come back and we've got just a couple more steps and then it is done. Look at how beautiful that is looking. Let's take a little bit off there. Okay, get this top part done. Now you could do this with other paints as well, but I just love how good coverage Fusion is, and it's got a built-in top coat too. So we are still going to wax this, but we're waxing it more for the look than for the protection, because with it having a built-in top coat, you don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to get this all the way around. And then just start where it's drying the fastest. Oh yes, that is looking so good. So good. So good. Okay, so I'm going to let this dry, and then I will come back and we will get the rest of it finished up. Alright guys, we're back for the last step here. So you can see just our beautiful Crackle distressed finish. Like, it just looks so good. I love it. So, and you could stop here, but I'm going to show you what I did to the other one. So, all right. So this is Fusion liming wax. It says liming on the top. It's just a creamy white. It's not white white. You could do this clear. You could do this with white. I just really like this and how creamy it is. So I just like to dab off on my lid. And main reason why I'm putting this on is so that I have control over the espresso wax I put on next. Because if you get too heavy-handed with a darker wax, sometimes you can't. Well, you can always go over it with a clear wax to remove some of it, but this is what I'm doing. I like this method, and I am putting this wax all over, so this is sealing it, like protecting it. So whereas with the espresso, I am not putting it all over. Okay, so it does leave it just a smidge cloudy, but it dries different. And again, I'm not that worried about it because I'm putting the espresso on over top. So and I just like to use a nice soft brush with it, and then I will wipe it back a smidge. See here. Show you how I wipe it back. Let it sit for a couple minutes. I've put on a pretty thin coat here, so it's gonna dry really fast. So far, I have to say this Fusion wax is some of my favorite. So I'll leave this out because if I do get my espresso on too thick, then it's easy to take the white and go back over it. All right, so I'm going a little fast here, but oh yeah, it's basically dry down here. But you just wipe it off, just buff it. And especially when you're doing this on another surface where you don't like clear, you have to buff off all the time. On furniture, when you use it, you have to buff it, right? Like after you put it on, you let it sit, and then you buff it off. Okay. Okay. Next, we're going to do the same thing with the espresso. Probably have way too much. Now, I'm not putting this everywhere. I'm going to concentrate this in places where I think it would be dirty, where I think that the age, like the dirt, that would show, but I don't want it to be symmetrical, so I'm not putting everywhere. I'm just going to randomly pop it in around those leaves and on the top. I don't want it everywhere. And if you put too much on, like I said, we can take it off, especially since we put that white wax underneath. Okay, so I'm going to just start there, and then I'm going to grab another cloth and I'm going to start to rub it back. And you're going to see it's going to start to, stay down into some of those crevices, but we can take it off like the high parts. And I'll show this up close to you in a second. I won't do it all. I'll just do some and then I'll show you so you can see the difference. So you can see what I'm doing. Let's get this big guy done down here so you can have a good view of it. So can you see how it's starting to stay like down in those grooves there? And then how soft and aged that looks, and then compared to how we put it on that side. So let's start blending some of this in. This wax, you can get different colors, I think. I'm not sure. These are the only two colors I have currently, but this Espresso is a little on the warmer side. It does have some red undertones in it, but the next thing I'm going to show you helps get rid of that and just really keeps it as a layer in there. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Okay, we might come back and add a little bit more, but we'll see. The wax also helps with, sorry, excuse my head, this Dixie Belle Dirt. So it says Dixie Dirt. This one is in the color Earth. Okay, so the wax helps us to stick. I just have a soft brush and I just load my brush and then I dab it all off into the lid, and then you can put this on fairly heavy because you can brush it off afterwards. So can you see where I am getting it in there and how it's already started to tone the brown down a little bit, and it's just adding one more layer. It just gives it a little bit more depth. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to put that into some places. You can just simply brush it on and it's going to adhere to that wax, if that's the right way to say that. Get it right into some of the details on the top here. And those leaves, that's what I'm trying to say. I can't think when I'm doing things sometimes, or talk when I'm doing things. Okay. You don't want it everywhere though. But we can also wipe some off. We can go back over with that liming wax if we decided we've got too much. Let's get some down here. This didn't even get any wax on it, any of the dark wax anyhow. Let's just put a little of that there. If you find it's not sticking, you can just go in with your wax, because that just means we either didn't have wax there or it's just dried. Okay. Oh, loving this. I am loving this. I am getting this Dixie Dirt in other colors, let me tell you. It is amazing. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see what it's going to look like on the top here too. Like, I'm just putting it on a little heavier up here. We'll wipe it. Whoops. That's a lot heavy. It's okay. We'll just let it fall. Ooh, that's a happy mistake. We'll let it fall and then we'll rub it all in there. Oh, I'm loving that. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Might be a little heavy right here. So let's just take the cloth, wipe a little bit of it back. All I did was put a little bit of liming wax on there, and you can see how it just lifted it right up. So you can't go wrong with this. Maybe just a smidge here, a little bit around this edge. Okay, and then we haven't got under all the spots under here yet, so let's do that. I feel like there might be a build-up, right, that on here, so I don't want the whole ledge to be covered, but I want some of it. Oh, we didn't do these leaves over here, and this crease in here, we'll get a little in there. And it really settles into the cracks too, and it just brings all of that texture out. Okay. I'm going to just try bringing you down a little closer. So I really, really hope that that all just stayed in focus. I should have probably done that sooner for you guys. So I'll get better with these cameras. All right. A little bit more here and there. Okay, so if I feel like I've got it a little too heavy here, I'm just going to hit it with that liming wax. I can actually, and then just rub it right off. But I love it. It's, to me, it's done. Like, I love it. Okay, so just put this away. This Dixie dirt is going to last you like a lifetime, my goodness. Right, let's get these out of the way. And I just keep my brushes set aside just for waxing, and I keep that other brush set aside for the Dixie dirt as well. And when these start to get really goopy gummy, then I will clean them. But for right now, they're good. They are good. So what we are going to do now, guess I should just clean this. All right, so now that this is all done, let me raise this back up. So I'm going to bring into the frame here all the different pieces, and then I just set the pumpkin that we stamped on in the pumpkin topiary tutorial. I just put a little tag on him and put him there. This is the one that I'm going to move all these again too, but this is the other little stand that I made, and then I just put like one of those little wreaths on there and set that pumpkin on, and I love it. Like, that is super cute. So I'm going to get these back out of the way. I just wanted to remind you of all the ones that we did so you could see them again. And then this is the big, I did get all of his greenery put in there. I'll show you too, but this is the one that I did before that doesn't have the Algonquin in it. It just has the Hazelwood, so it is a little cooler. It's a little bit more gray, but I love it. So all I did was the greenery I was showing you before that I was going to place around in a wreath. I went to my stash and I just found a lot of pieces that I had cut up and stuck them in this styrofoam. And then I can easily pull them out for Christmas if I want to put a tree in here. And then I just had some other little pieces that I stuck in there and put this on top. So I think he's perfect. Right, so I'm going to get him over to the side here. I'm going to bring this guy back in and see how he looks. I think he looks pretty good. Okay, let's turn him around. I know I wasn't sitting in there quite even, only because my hole is not centered in there. I'm going to have to fix that. So all I did was add a couple more pieces of jute on here. I just like took a piece of jute and it was short and I cut it, I folded it in half and glued it and just stuck it in there. And then all I do, I just want to find a short piece. All I do is take my jute and I just unwind them. And then I will sometimes just pull them apart just to give them a little bit of a different look, and then cut them to different lengths. And I just have it there underneath of my raffia, and I just took a bunch of raffia, tied it into a bow, glued it on. So I don't know if I will put on any Spanish moss like I did with this guy. I'm not sure. So I will kind of like him just plain and simple like this. I might put a tag on him. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see. I'm just looking to see what I have for tags behind me. I have this tag that would be cute. And the other one I have made up that I haven't done anything with yet is this guy. So I'm not sure. We'll see. We will see once I style them up. So I'm going to style this all up. I'll show you pictures at the end and how I might decorate this year with all these pumpkins. I haven't started my fall decorating yet, so I'm not sure if this is going to be the beginning of it or not. But anyhow, any questions, guys, just leave them in the comments below. And I will see you in the next video. All right, bye.